welcome back to Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 66 of Was I in the Wrong? Here on the Misty Morrison Podcast, we love to read or listen. We like to help people look back on their situations with that 2020 vision to see how they could have handled the situations more gracefully, or to look at current situations to get advice. Before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with content to help the channel grow. Engaging online is completely free. If you are listening on podcast, you can leave a 5-star review if you liked it. Anywhere else, you can give it a like, a thumbs up, a heart. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the stories down below. Share it with a friend and subscribe for more. Long form content goes live every Tuesday and Thursday, and short form content goes live 3 times daily. All right, into our stories for the day. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/AITAH. AITAH for telling my wife to get a job if she wants to subsidize the kids. Up until our youngest kid graduated from university, I worked crazy hours out of town to pay for everything. I worked 6 weeks on of 12-hour days. Then I would get 3 weeks off. That works out to 56 hours a week if you average it out. I've been doing that since I was 35 years old. It allowed my wife to stay at home and take care of the kids and the house. We also used it to pay off our mortgage as well as buy new cars for cash whenever we needed. I'll describe our budget so you guys can judge. After taxes, we used my take-home to pay the mortgage and bills. We then paid into the kids' college funds, then into our retirement fund. Then we topped up our retirement account. We put money into our emergency fund, then whatever was left, we split 50-50. Our tax refund was our vacation fund. Okay. Now I'm 55 and I'm tired. Understandable. My body is beat and I need to slow down. Our kids are both through university, both got their degrees and have jobs. I did my part. The company I work for had a job open for an office job. I applied and got it. Congratulations. It's a 9-to-5 city job, 40 hours a week. Better hourly rate plus other compensation. However, it is a lot less money without the overtime. I was getting 44 hours a week of overtime. That's huge. Yes, it is. But we have money in the bank and I have an easy stretch until I retire. My wife, however, is upset. Both kids are struggling. Struggling, he says. For the record, they live at home, rent-free. But they want cars and apartments of their own. They can afford that. They just won't be getting luxury cars and huge apartments. We no longer have a mortgage, and my wife and I are both driving vehicles purchased in the last 3 years, still under warranty. Our budget no longer has education funds either. We still have more than we need, and my wife and I each have $1,000 each month to spend however we want. Nice. I'm saving up for a new garage/shop. My wife has been giving hers to the kids. She is hinting that I should also contribute. I think I've contributed enough. Yes, you have. I told her to get a job. She's only 46. She can go to work and give them her salary. I still provide housing and food for all of them, so she won't starve or anything. Her and the kids think that I'm being cruel, and one of the little shits said I was being lazy. What about you? Said I was being lazy by cutting my hours so much. Down to normal working hours. This is still my hill to die on. I've done the hard work long enough. I want to enjoy my life. Am I the asshole for telling her to get a job and give them her money? No. This isn't even a conversation. And I'm so sorry they've tried to talk you into it so much that you felt like you had to come here to get validation. Here is your validation on a silver platter. You have truly done the work. You sacrificed time with your family, events, holidays. You sacrificed so much to give them a good life and give them everything they needed, to allow your wife to stay home all those years, to be what she wanted to be. Like, you sacrificed your time with your family to allow her to have her dream of being a stay-at-home mom. That was a choice that you made for their entire childhood and even all the way through their higher education. Um, for them, I don't know if it's the kids saying it or if it's your wife saying it, but to say that they are struggling when they live rent free, not even buying groceries in your house and they have jobs, there is no reason. I don't believe it. Um, oh my gosh, there's so much here. I don't know if I could have held my temper if I was you and the kids said to me that I was being lazy by cutting my hours back from 44 hours of overtime a week to normal 40 hours. You're not quitting. You're not going to part-time. You're going to average for most humans. I feel like few people could have done, I don't know exactly what kind of work you did, but few people could have worked that many hours for this many years and still been okay. It's no wonder you're tired. You should be mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted from the work that you've put in for your family. And I am ashamed of your wife here for being upset with you, for finally choosing yourself, for finally choosing to be present, to enjoy the home that you worked your ass off to pay for. I'm ashamed of her for taking this view of it, that you still have extra money, you still have your $1,000 a month that you get to do whatever you want with. You are saving it up for something for yourself, your shop, your garage, and she has the nerve to tell you that you should be contributing that to your kids. No, you've contributed your whole life, your whole adult life to your kids. Since you were 35, you've been doing this for all of them. It's the entitled ungratefulness of your wife and your kids that really upset me. Um, there's no, if she wants them to have more money, despite the fact that they work, they don't pay rent, they don't buy groceries, they shouldn't need more money. If she wants them to not be struggling, to have enough money to buy luxury cars, then you're right. She should go get a job if she wants to subsidize them, because you literally subsidize these three people, your wife and your two kids, you literally subsidized their whole entire lives up to this point. And you did it for longer than you had to because they're already finished with their degrees. You weren't like, oh, you're 18, you're done. You weren't like, oh, associate's degree, you're done. You weren't like, oh, 21, you're done. All the way through their entire education, you covered it. You built college funds for them. You did everything for them. And maybe that's where it's at. Maybe you did too much. And I don't blame you for it. I don't blame you at all if you did do too much. But this is where you're at. You have worked your life away, literally. And you're not even trying to retire. You're just saying, I'm going to work a physically less demanding job. I'm going to work fewer hours. I'm going to work a normal person's hours, which will probably feel like part-time to you after all this time. You're going to have an easy way to go until you retire. And there is nothing wrong with that. You deserve that. You have earned that. And that's not entitlement. That is literally, you have worked all the extra all these years that now you've earned this lesser work. And I mean, sure, it's a pay cut, and an hour reduction, but that's what you wanted, the hour reduction. And the pay cut is fine because your expenses have decreased. She's the one who wants to subsidize kids who you're really already subsidizing by letting them live in your house rent free and buying the groceries. You've done more than enough. You are right. If anyone here is an asshole, it's your wife and your kids for trying to make you feel guilty for finally taking a little bit of weight off your own shoulders. They should be ashamed of themselves. Oh, I did not realize we were going to start there. Okay. Wow. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/AITA-H. AITA-H because I told my mother-in-law that she can no longer see my children. I have been with my husband for 14 years. He has a daughter from a previous relationship. She's now 16. We have a daughter, 12, and a son, 7 together. His sister has a daughter and she is 6 months older than my 12-year-old. So in total, my mother-in-law has 4 grandchildren. Okay? For years, my bonus daughter has been spoiled as she was the only grandchild. Then my sister-in-law had her daughter. Sister-in-law lives with mother-in-law. Of course, the girls then were together because mother-in-law would watch my bonus daughter. Then came my bio daughter. They would refuse to watch her and would only take and watch bonus daughter. Some background. We almost lost my daughter at 6 days old due to the MSSA virus. It is a whole staph strain different from MRSA. For 4 weeks, we were told not to expect her to live. But she is our miracle baby. I was out of work for almost 4 months after bringing her home and taking care of her in that time frame. And in that time frame, I lost my dad. So being postpartum and in a depression because of losing my dad and my husband have to travel for work, I was a mess. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law offered to help me. So when I needed some time to myself, I would call for help. They would take the oldest and leave me with the baby. This went on for years. When my daughter turned 2, she started wondering why sister would get to go with grandma and not her. I said, I don't know. When hubby asked, their excuse was because she is so much. My daughter was diagnosed with high-functioning ADHD in kindergarten. As they grew. Okay, as she grew and then my son came along, they started promising my 2 kids that they would spend time with them. Well, things would get canceled or they would not show up. But for my bonus daughter, they were always there, picking her up, having sleepovers, and taking her out to lunch. You let this go on for way too long. This has built for years. Well, in December of this last year, I blew up. Mother-in-law picked up my bonus daughter without permission and took her out to eat. This has been happening a lot. She was supposed to be home by noon. I went home on my lunch break to give her a list of chores and she was not there. I called my husband and he had just gotten off the phone with mother-in-law because he saw that she has not been home yet. Mother-in-law just said, yes, I have her and I will bring her home when I'm ready. It was a half day at school. This just broke the bank. She had been picking my bonus daughter up and taking her places after school without permission. When she would get home, she would tell the 2 youngest, yeah, grandma took me to get snacks and whatnot. So of course I would have 2 very upset kids. They don't understand why grandma would not do things with them. I wouldn't have said, I don't know. I would have thrown her under the bus. Well, after this last lunch, I called mother-in-law and told her that to pick up bonus daughter, she would have to seek out mine or hubby's permission beforehand. Mother-in-law was like, you can't tell me what to do. You have no right. You are not her mother. I said, you're right. I said, you're right. I am not her mother, but I am the one that is raising her with her father. You are overstepping the boundaries that we have set up. From here on out, you do something with her, you have to do something with the other 2. I went on to tell her, I wouldn't have done that. I went on to tell her how many times that she has not done anything with the 2 youngest, and if she did, it was because the bonus daughter was there. I reminded her how many times she canceled or did not show up for the 2 youngest. She started yelling at me and telling me that I was being petty and that she was a businesswoman and she didn't have time for this BS. Oh, Lord. Hello, I'm a businesswoman too. I'm a regional manager for a business. Anyway, I finally had enough and told her that if she was no longer allowed to see the kids. After I hung up, I called the hubby and told him verbatim what was said. He was at work and I told him to be prepared that his mom will be showing up to his work and she will not be happy. Sure enough, she showed up to his work with bonus daughter and started yelling at him. She told him that the 2 youngest need to learn how to suck it. Oh my God. It will never be about them. He should have never had them. Whoa, this blew up. At that point, he told her that he agrees with me. She is no longer allowed to see my kids. After we got home that day, we found out that mother-in-law and sister-in-law were talking to the bonus daughter about emancipation. She was 15 at the time they had this conversation. This made me double down on mother-in-law no longer seeing my kids. So AITA-H for telling mother-in-law she's no longer allowed to see my kids. I feel like I need some clarity on whether, because you said you're not her mother, you're raising her. So when you're saying that she is not allowed to see your kids, I want to know if that is specifically your youngest 2 or all of them, because they are trying to rip the oldest one away from the rest of her nuclear family. That in and of itself is a problem. Hubby should be putting a stop to that. If you're saying you told her she couldn't see your 2 kids, he needs to be telling her that applies to all of his kids. Point blank. No. No, You are right. You are not the asshole. This is insane. Truly, you did let this go on for too long. Um, the moment she said she didn't want to take your daughter because, oh, she's just too much because she has ADHD, it's just ADHD. It's not a big deal. It's not. That she's a little bit more energetic. She has a different personality. Everyone has a different personality. Everyone has a different energy level. That was never an acceptable reason. That was a cop out. Honestly, I'm surprised it took this many years for her to just come out and say, well, I don't accept that. I don't accept the two youngest kids. Don't accept it. Um, Not even because she was at his work. Does that make it worse? Yes. But the fact that she said he should have never had them, that those two little kids need to learn to suck it, that I can't. I would have called security, had her removed from the building. Um, your husband seems like a really calm and tolerant man. But also the fact that she said all of this in front of the older daughter, who is a teenager, she's emotional, who then could go turn around and tell your younger two, oh, turns out all these years grandma never took you and did anything with you because she didn't think dad should have you. She thought you were a mistake. That could happen. And that is awful. I hope older daughter is not that kind of person, but she's a teenager and she's impulsive. She could just get mad and say something, especially if she's included in mother-in-law no longer being able to see the kids, and now she doesn't get taken out for special lunches. She doesn't get to go for snacks after school. She doesn't get all the special treatment that she has had for 15 years. 15, 16, whatever. For her whole life, she's got this special treatment. And there will be resentment on her part towards both you and your husband if you're saying that mother-in-law can't see her either and she gets pulled away from that special treatment and suddenly she's on the same level as her siblings. At her age, that will be a problem for her. This is horrible. Um, I feel like, and I've never been there, I can't say for sure what I would have done, but I feel like had I been in your situation when you were in, you lost your dad, you were in the depression, you had the baby, and they said, oh, we'll help you. But when you needed help, they took the older one, who would certainly be easier than the younger one, and they would leave you with the baby. That was your first red flag, and it was already on fire. Like, oh, we'll help you, but we're only going to help you halfway. Is it really still help then? This, they're from the first moment that your kids noticed that they were treated differently than the older daughter, I would have been honest. I wouldn't have stood up for her. I would have thrown her right under the bus where she belonged and told them, well, for some reason, I guess based on who her biological mother was, your grandma likes her better. She just doesn't like you guys. That's why she doesn't want to do anything with you. Like we tried, we encouraged it. She refused, or if she did agree to it, she would later flake. Like we tried. Grandma doesn't love you. Like that's a hard reality. That sucks. But I think if you're honest about it, and they were real little, not in those terms, but I think if you're as honest about it as you could have age appropriately been, you would have come out looking better, like you were standing up for them, versus just letting this tension and this resentment to their older sister build for all these years and letting them be actively treated as less than her. I feel like it would have been so much better if you would have put a stop to this at the beginning, or when they were all still in single digit years, where you would have been better able to recover from the fact that in the in-laws' eyes, older sister was always better than little siblings. At this point, I feel like they're at the ages you can't undo those years of hurt. Because at this point, they're old enough. It's not even years of hurt that older sister's better. It's not even just years of hurt that grandma and auntie don't like us. It's also years of hurt that you and dad let it happen. I think they'll absolutely think about it that way. And hopefully it won't ruin your relationship with the littles, but this will definitely damage the long-term mentality that this has created for the older one. This will definitely damage her relationship with you guys, especially with you. Hopefully your husband will be strong enough in this and vocal enough in this that, if older daughter comes back and is like, well, it's all your fault. You said she couldn't see me anymore. He will be there to say, I also said that. This was the right decision because you are all three my kids and you all three deserve to be treated the same. And we don't want any of you around someone who cannot see the value in all of you as individuals. Point blank, not fair. Not fair, creating unnecessary tension and resentment within your nuclear family unit that didn't have to be there. Oh, we just had 2 really big ones. Wow, that was a lot. Maybe we can find something lighter or something shorter. Nope, that's a long one. I feel like I had like a palate cleanser one saved in here somewhere. I'm scrolling. Okay, here's one. Okay, this is a short one. I need to do more of these. This is from r/random acts of kindness. I read the title before and I thought it sounded cute, so I saved it. Now is the perfect time to pull it out. A couple helped me load up my car with no hesitation. I found a listing on Facebook Marketplace for a free router table yesterday, and since I'm trying to build out my little garage workshop, I thought it would be perfect. So I arranged a time to pick it up after work. Let's just say it looked smaller in the pictures. And the guy giving it away didn't offer to help. I already had a small cabinet in the back of my Forester that I was allowed to take from work, so I suddenly wasn't sure I could fit both. And then I tried to pick it up and it was heavy. I'm pretty strong, but I'm very short, so it was going to be a challenge. As I'd pulled over to the side of the street to load up, there was a young couple walking by. As I was assessing the table, they got my attention. They'd seen me figuring out how to get this giant thing into my car and decided to turn around and offer to help. It took all three of us, but we managed to cram it in less than 5 minutes. They were so sweet and helpful and took time out of their walk to help a complete stranger. I'm blown away by people's kindness at times. Yes, I love this. I mean, shame on the seller for, like, he wanted it gone bad enough he was giving it away for free, but he wasn't willing to help you get in your car so it could be gone. That's weird, kind of rude, but I love this couple because I feel like anymore people are so nervous about other people, especially people that they don't know. Like, are they safe? Are they going to try to hurt me? All the things. So it's really refreshing. I feel like it's getting more rare by the day to see someone who's just willing to say, oh, hey, I don't know you, but I see you could use some help. Would you like my help? That's rare, refreshing. Love to see the kindness. I'll do more of these. Okay, that was, we're gonna count the random act of kindness one. So that was 3 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Misty Morrison podcast. Remember, start each day with a grateful heart. Kindness changes everything. And I will see you next time for another episode of the Misty Morrison podcast. Bye, guys.